I'm really excited to spend a little time with you this morning in this workshop. I am Dr. Jody Perry. I'm a psychologist and former family lawyer. My specialty is helping women through divorce. I am passionate about taking the time to work with both individuals and women collectively to seize the opportunity that divorce provides. I myself have been divorced, and I have learned so much along the way. I continue to learn every day as I work with clients in my private psychology practice. I am ready to share with you the things that are most powerful in taking what is a really hard time, divorce, and using it as an opportunity to have the best life imaginable. I will be answering questions at the end. So grab a tablet, a pencil, grab a drink, silence your phone so that you can be present, because there's going to be important information that you can use to capitalize on this life quake of divorce. Welcome to the Breakup to Brilliance workshop. Signing up for this workshop is already an enormous first step that you've taken. And in addition to that, you've shown up. So what that tells me is you are motivated to take this time and make this time in your life the fork in the road moment. A person in motion stays in motion. And every step you take is a step toward the future that you are building. If you're concerned about going it alone, not knowing where to begin, should I take or not take action? Am I settling for something less than my dream? Those are concerns I hear every day. Those are concerns that I myself had when I went through divorce. Can you relate to that feeling of, I don't know if it's worse to act or not act? By the end of this workshop, I hope that you will feel where to begin, that you aren't going it alone, that you will take strategic action, and that you will not settle for anything less than your truth. Let's take a deep breath. I really believe in the power of our intentions. The way we spend our days is the way we spend our lives. If we wait until the end of our divorce or until everything finally settles down to be intentional, to build our life, to experience the life that we want to provide for our children, those are years of our life. We're not going to get them back on the other end. These are our life days we're using. Let's use them the best we can. So set it for your time here with me today. What is it you hope to get out of this workshop? Take a minute, set your intention. What do we feel when we go through divorce? When I went through divorce, I felt all of these things: confusion, anger, sorrow, hopelessness. It was lonely, fear, tons of uncertainty, feeling stuck, and never being able to know, am I doing the right thing at the right moment? This is even though I was a divorce lawyer. I experienced all of these emotions. I want to empower you to take this time and make it one that has energetic potential, so that you can feel optimism, so you can feel excitement, so that you can be energized by the prospect of building a new life, that you feel strong internally, that you have clarity, freedom, the sense that you are safe. This is so much a part of what we talk about in our culture, but there are ways to absolutely root this into your experience. This is not just about positive psychology. This is about taking steps, action steps, to really use the energy, the trauma of divorce, and make it something powerful and healthy on the other side for you. What is that alchemy? How do we get from that confusion to clarity? This is a process I use in my psychology practice. I work with women at every stage. Some are still married. Some are wondering whether or not to be divorced. Some are going through divorce. Some have been through divorce and it's been years, but it's a subject that is coming up for them again and again. This is what I do with the women I work with to help them find their way in a time in life that is absolutely all consuming. We want to take actions that create trust in ourselves. If we've been in a difficult marriage, we may have lost that sense of being true to ourselves, knowing what our next steps can be. We want to engage new ways of thinking and acting that go not with the past and our past experience, but that actually align with the future that we want. Connection is a big part of this process. Creating a plan of action, accountability. That's how you build self-trust. We take one step at a time, and in the taking of the step, something builds trust for you in yourself. Celebrating the wins. It's important. They don't have to be big wins, small wins too. An extra glass of water a day. Maybe willing to go out with friends after you've been in for a while. Celebrate all the wins because that helps you get confidence in yourself and the steps you're taking forward. This alchemy has to do with connection to self, your authentic self, really drawing out that part of you that may have stepped back so that you could survive in a difficult situation. Brainstorming. When we get overwhelmed, our brain freezes. We start to see a minimal amount of options, right? It looks like maybe there aren't any options. The other thing that happens when we're in fight or flight response is we become rigid in our thinking. In this effort to minimize that flight or fight response, we open our mind to be able to visualize the life that we want to have. And we take that and we use those visualizations to plan our life going forward. Taking action, one increment at a time, celebrating every win along the way. Your most valuable resources, more than who gets the house, more than the 401k, the most valuable resources you have are your thoughts, your intuition, your emotional energy, and your confidence. You may feel that you don't have those resources right now. I'm telling you that you do. There are times in our life when we've had to step back, and in order to make it through some tough days, we might have to really quiet our inner voice, quiet our thoughts, key down our emotional energy. You may not have felt comfortable utilizing these resources. I promise you, they're all still there inside of you. You're tapping into them all the time. Maybe you're tapping into them in your professional life, but you need to bring them back into your personal life. In an effort to protect ourselves, our brain says to step back because this is a dangerous time. However, if you can bypass that and really listen to your heart, that connection is what helps you move from confusion to clarity. So I'll be asking you to call upon your own voice, your own thoughts, really hearing what you know to be true. That's your intuition, what you know to be true for you, your emotional energy, and your confidence. I was a divorce lawyer, but I came to discover that it is challenging for anybody to win in a divorce. And I wasn't able to help women in the way I wanted, because even if you win your divorce case, you're the winner, your settlement is exactly what you wanted, that's not going to help you confidently move into your future necessarily. What we need for that is our inner resources. I learned firsthand how true this is. I became a psychologist. I specialize in working with transitions and taking time to utilize those transitions, whether they're positive or they're traumatic. We can utilize them to make change. As I said, I call divorce a life quake because there isn't an area of your life that's untouched. That's what makes it so overwhelming. It's more than heartbreak. It's also parenting is changing. How am I going to live with my children all to myself half the time and not at all the other half? There's so many legal issues that arise. Finances. What's going to happen next? Do I have to change my work life? Do I have to stop being at home with my kids? What is going to happen? It's like a rug pulled out from under you. I know this feels terrible, but I promise you that you can use this time of all of this tumultuous change and use it as an opportunity to have the life you've always wanted. One of the areas is placing the past in the past. That does not mean we forget about our experience. We need to learn from it. So placing the past in the past, saying, this divorce is not my whole life. It is not who I am. It is one part of my experience. It is one part in the context of my whole life. This is one part, but it's not me, and it's not a failure. It's a learning experience. And if we can extract the lessons from our divorce, if we can extract what we've learned from it, from that heartache, from that rug being pulled out from under us, if we can extract the meaning in it and give it meaning, then we are able to see it as one part of our life instead of our whole life. We have to give ourselves permission. Will you give yourself permission to experience this as an opportunity? It takes courage, and your brain might be saying this is a dangerous move, because that's what our brains are designed to do. Having the courage to give ourselves permission to not feel so much guilt, to not feel blame and shame. Instead, to realize we're human, we make mistakes, but we can give ourselves permission to still live a really good life and emerge from divorce happy and whole. How do we release relationships that aren't serving us any longer? We're extracting the lessons from the situation. Look at, who were you before this relationship began? What were your dreams? Had you been in school? Had you been working? What did you believe your life would be? And what did you aspire to? What did you want to have happen in your heart and your mind? What was going on for you at that time? What factors contributed to you choosing this particular person to have a relationship with, to settle down with? At that point, how did you maintain connection in the relationship? Who were you as an individual in the relationship? Sometimes as women, we give and we can lose ourselves and our sense of individuality within the relationship. What was your experience at the end of the relationship? Taking time and really drawing from this is like drawing wisdom from yourself. You can use this time, give it meaning, and use it to move forward in a way that's very optimistic and positive and powerful for you. Not just releasing relationships, release roles that no longer serve us. If you have been in a situation where you feel that you've had codependency, that's saving others, trying to save your marriage, save your spouse, all of those roles are not going to serve us going forward. We want to find new ways to relate to who we are in this time. If I don't have this drama to be working on, if I don't have this marriage to save, who am I? What kind of relationships do I want? How do I want to parent my kids? What's my community? The one that I choose to live in, to accept the courage and the desire to move forward. You really need to practice listening to your heart. If you've been in a tough marriage, it may have been dangerous to listen to your heart, right? If you're wanting more, but it's going to create screaming and all kinds of conflict, we learn to suppress our heart's truth in an effort to keep life calm or perhaps to avoid terrible things happening. We lose the ability to hear it. Now it's time for you to listen to your own heart's truth, and you have to practice it, because if you've been suppressing that voice for years, it's going to take a little time for it to come forward loud and clear. Practice giving voice to your heart's truth. I encourage you, don't abandon it. This is you, and this is your life. Building self-trust incrementally by really listening to that inner voice. If you are a parent and you're going through divorce, It is challenging. This is having been through it myself. I had 3 little kids at the time I was divorced, and I thought I completely failed them. It's not true. So the thing about resilience in children is that divorce alone doesn't mean that children are going to have a difficult future or they're not going to be emotionally healthy. It doesn't mean that at all. What actually harms children is conflict and instability. There are ways as we change our relationship with our ex or the co-parent from spouse and spouse to co-parent, changing our communication patterns in order to get out of those spouse roles. So we're not speaking anymore the way we spoke in our house. We have more of a business interaction with that person. We create a parenting plan that enables children to know what's going to come up next and to be excited about their time in both of their parents' homes. All of that leads to resilience, and it also helps us to use this time as a transformation. I know as a parent, I couldn't move forward until I knew my kids were going to be okay. That was my biggest concern. I thought, well, I'll survive this, but what have I done to their life? If only I had known that there was so much I could do, that they were going to be okay. And there was a lot I could do that made their days and my days more of a learning experience than a time of real sadness. Visualizing your next step is a really enormous step. One of the hardest questions my clients have to answer is if I say, "What do you want?" That seems like an easy question, but if you've been spending your time trying to tend to other people's needs and trying to save a family and a whole world of experience, then you lose touch with the ability to dream. One of the ways to move from that confusion to clarity, that overwhelm to optimism, is allowing yourself to once again tap into what you want. It's asking yourself the question, if I could live my life any way I wanted, anywhere I wanted, with whomever I wanted, and do what I wanted, what would my life look like? Ask that question to the woman you were before this relationship began. Ask this question to the woman who was in the marriage, and ask this question to yourself now. Start to think about and then visualize with a lot of detail what you want out of your life. It's okay to ask yourself those questions and have your wants and your needs satisfied. The other part of being able to make this divorce an alchemy for transformation is to tap into your own voice and your heart and realize that this is just one part of your life, but also the story, the narrative. What meaning have you given this divorce? What does it mean for you to have been through this experience? Is it created from your own truth? Or have you incorporated, sometimes you might incorporate what our parents think about the divorce into the story, or what our ex thinks about the divorce into the story. And really, this is your story. I want you to create your narrative of what your experience is. That's the way to move past it and have it just be a part of your life, not your whole life. Really making sure that you can get real with what you lived through and what your lessons learned are. Boundaries. We think about boundaries like saying no. If I'm asked to be the team mom and I have to make lasagna for 75 JV football players and I say no, I'm protecting my space, my boundaries. Boundaries are more than saying no. They're also about saying yes. Saying no isn't enough. No, I can't make the lasagna for 75 JV football players. That keeps me from doing the thing that's taking up my energy. But the whole point of the boundaries is to then use that time and energy for yourself. So for everything you say no to, you want to have something that you say yes to. Yes, something that serves you, something that's healthy for you. I'm not making lasagna for 75 JV football players. Instead, I'm going to read that book I always wanted to read, a spiritual book. So setting clear boundaries is not just saying no, it's also saying yes. Brainstorm. When we're feeling overwhelmed, we tend to freeze and see far fewer options. What we want to do is not hold all this inside of us. The house, the finance, the legal, the parenting, all those things inside of us is heavy, and it makes it impossible to experience that alchemy of really drawing the lessons from the divorce and building a good life. How do we lower that defensive posture and connect with all the possibilities when we're feeling afraid and uncertain? Self-expression and creativity. If you love to paint, if you like to journal, anything that allows you to lose that editor, lose that critical voice inside and just allow something to come from you, those are places that we need to go. Those are things we need to do. For instance, if it's journaling, you want to have the plan of sitting down, not writing anything in particular, and allowing everything from your mind to pass down, past your heart, down your arm, and into your writing. No editing. This is about just allowing everything to pour out in every area of our lives. All we're doing is capturing it. We're not judging it. We're not doing anything with it. We're putting it in a place so it's not on our shoulders anymore, so that we can later come back, and we'll come back and clarify, organize, reflect on it, and engage. But first, we need to have the willingness to capture it all. Once we have it in this space that's not on our shoulders, we have so much more energy. You're going to be amazed at how much energy you can feel, how many thoughts, how your thoughts expand, because you don't feel that you have to be afraid of change. Change is movement, and with that movement comes possibility. You are closer to your breakthrough than you realize. It doesn't mean that you're completely over your divorce, but the breakthrough is you seizing this as your life and being committed to moving forward in a way that reflects the life you want. That's the breakthrough. Once you get to that new mindset, every step along the way is bringing you toward this goal. There's small breakthroughs, and then there's bigger breakthroughs. But the idea that everything is unattainable keeps us from even taking the first step. I promise you, just utilizing some of these tools brings you to small breakthroughs, which lead to big breakthroughs. One of the tools I use with my clients is look at all the different pillars of our life. Remember when we allowed everything to pour onto the paper, just lay it all out there on the table or into our painting, whatever it is, we wanted to capture it. So in terms of really understanding, though, and organizing it, where do these things fit in my life? Does this have to do with my physical health, my spiritual life, my home, my feeling of independence, my sense of family, my financial wellness? All of those things that poured out are usually going to be within one of these 12 categories. We take some time to think, let's say professionally. Right now, I've been home with my kids for the last 10 years. You're determining the level of your satisfaction with that area of your life. Ask yourself, how satisfied am I with what that right now? Perhaps I have been home with my children and I want to stay home with them, but I put it at about a 6 because I wonder, what am I going to do if I do have to work? So if you're at a 6 in terms of your career, I next need you to go back to that visualization and think, what would it be as if it were a 10? What would it look like for you to rate that particular segment? Independence, your home, your physical health, your career. What would it take to rate that as a 10? There we have our path to building our plan for going forward. It might feel like we have to start from 0, but we don't. We start from that point of where we are now. We look at the possibilities and what would life be like if we could rate it a 10 in that area. That's the area we're working in. And we're doing it incrementally, one step at a time. So it's not everything at once. It's prioritizing amongst these different areas of our lives, realizing we don't have to start over, assessing where are we now in each area, choosing our priorities and then moving between where we're at and where we would be if we were actually living that dream life. So one of the categories is our physical health, which usually takes a toll. If we've been under a lot of stress, it will appear in our bodies. The pain, the heartache, all of that appears inside of us in terms of all different kinds of physical ailments that relate to stress. But it's also about taking the time to care for yourself. We need to build trust in ourselves again. One of the ways we do that is by taking care of our bodies. We have perhaps put other things before taking care of ourselves. Maybe we thought, I don't have time to exercise. I have this and this and all these different things. I don't have time for that right now. What that's saying is telling yourself that you're not important. When you take the time to go for that run in the morning, or you take the time to get a mammogram, you take care of this body that's been there for you, this miraculous being that you are. It says, I am important. When I take time to take care of myself, I'm telling my brain, I am important. And when I feel I'm important, I do things and say things and behave in a way that reflects that sense of importance. Home. I think of this area as one of the priorities. We all have a different, unique experience. Some of us will stay in our home and our ex will move out. Some of us will have to sell our home or terminate a lease on our apartment. We might need to downsize. Coming to terms with where you're at right now in home and making wherever you are a place that is safe and sacred for you, even if it's a transitional space, even if it is the space where you lived with your ex and you had perhaps many arguments, and every time you look around the corner or in a certain room, it's very painful. We need to make this your space so that it's sacred and peaceful and a place where you can really wind down and take stock of where you're at without having this defensive posture up where everything's rigid and you can't think and you can't sleep. For instance, if Harold was your husband and every time you walk in the living room, you just see this big, ugly chair that he insisted upon having in the middle of the room, and where he would watch all the Premier League soccer games. Every time I look at that chair, I think of Harold and all those sad memories from the last year of our life. We can tell Harold, come by, pick up your stuff by Saturday. If not, all of Harold's stuff in the garage. The most important thing is to have a place where you can feel peaceful, safe, and feel like it's your home. Taking time to reflect. We can become afraid of downtime, reflection time. Things have been so painful. Dissociating is to separate from what's happening in our reality, taking our mind to other places. I had a client who literally listened to audiobooks nonstop, never allowing any downtime, any time to think. In the shower, she put her phone in the plastic bag and she would be listening to the audio in the shower. This didn't take away the experience. This didn't take away the pain. What it did is it put it off. By the time I got to be with her and work with her, it was almost like day one because she hadn't had time to reflect and process her experience. If you take that time, and little chunks of time. Maybe you say, on Wednesdays, I work all day. Okay, every Wednesday at 6 on Wednesdays, this is my time. Now I'm going to cry my eyes out, or I'm going to scream, or I'm going to punch my pillow. I'm going to give myself time to release and then reflect. Really listening to your inner dialogue. Again, I spoke of our heart's voice being muffled during difficult times of conflict and unhappy marriage. But it's also about really being able to hear the voice that's yours, that is critical. Your brain is going to believe whatever it is you're saying to it. I'm so stupid. Your brain will believe that and act accordingly. Being able to capture those messages and turn them around. This is never going to end. This is a tough process right now. It's a tough road, but every day I get a little closer to the end. Some of the things we have to do in divorce are unpleasant, but we have to do them. For instance, if you're out in a sea and you have to swim to a dock to save your life, if you're thinking that you're not capable and you're telling yourself you're not capable, this swim is through tumultuous waves and it's really hard to even stay afloat. If you can be kind to yourself, encouraging, that swim, albeit not something we want, but we want the end, which is to come to safety, which is to come to that better life, then it's like swimming through a smooth, placid sea. Noticing how the narrative you're using, what are the messages I'm hearing inside? I'm constantly saying, I'm never going to make it through. There are messages that you're saying. This is one of your inner tools, something on your own, to hear and change those messages from messages that keep us stuck and stressed to messages that actually empower us, messages that go with the life we want to lead, that go with that transformative experience. Realizing there's a big difference between asking for advice and asking for permission. Whenever we're in a state of overwhelm and uncertainty, and we've not been listening to ourselves, we can't trust ourselves to do the right thing, it's appropriate to ask for advice, but we're not asking for permission. If our best friend says, this settlement sucks, you're crazy, you're getting taken advantage of, you don't need to ask for permission to take that settlement if you believe it's right for you. We want to ask for advice. Let's gather information from a lot of different sources, but we make the decisions for ourselves. We don't need permission. This is our life now. We're visualizing on a grand scale. I don't want you to hold back on your visualizations. We also spoke about those incremental steps forward, 6 in career to 10 in career. Making that next step, that's where we want to be realistic. We want to start with and prioritize those things that will give us a lot of benefit. For instance, the house, just like taking anything that doesn't make you feel at home or safe in your house and putting it in the garage. That's a small thing that is going to affect family, parenting, maybe physical health. It affects so many different things. Being realistic in terms of your next steps, those small goals that you're going to meet to eventually get to the 10, and taking, when you're choosing amongst the small steps, choosing those that are so impactful, those that will actually make a big difference first, is a way to start being able to trust yourself and trust that you're going to get out of this and you're going to be fine. How do we know when we're making the right decision? This is our life. Making the wrong choice is going to absolutely affect us, perhaps for the rest of our lives. We need to, gather the information, gather that advice, listen to our truth, really hear what is important for us, what sits with our plans for the future. Start to notice the peace that you feel when you make the correct choice, when you choose something that's healthy for you. There's a sense of peace, that extra glass of water, and just how you feel after you drink it. It can be a very small thing, but start to notice the peace that you experience when you do make a choice that's good for you. Looking at our work. With divorce, sometimes we have to work more, sometimes we have to work less. We may have to work more because of our financial situation. We may have to work less because we have the children all to ourselves on 1 week. If you don't have help on the weeks that you have your children, it becomes challenging. My work, as a reflection of what I believe in, allow me to choose something that I'm passionate about and that I can actually do in this particular transition period. Shifting that narrative, generating the energy with the visualizations and opening our mind to our experience, creating clarity as we make those steps leads to us being able to embrace our independence, and we can step into our own power. That's when it begins to feel like an adventure. Yes, it's really hard, but it's adventurous, and we are optimistic, and we wonder, next year at this time, things are going to be different. And I look forward to seeing the way they are going to be different. Really connecting with other women who are in a similar situation, that can help us in so many ways. We all have a very unique experience, and we're all at different stages of this journey, but we can then help each other and share information and share ideas, or just being validated. Oh my gosh, you mean you experienced that as well? I thought I was crazy. This is how we validate and really empower ourselves. One of the negative voices that we hear or that we say to ourselves is, I'm never going to be able to do this. I want you to think about something you're doing now that 6 months ago you thought you would never do. So maybe it's go on a 2-hour hike. You did, it doesn't feel like anything to you. But 6 months ago you thought, man, I don't even want to walk around the block. What are you doing that you never thought you could do? Maybe you're reading, going through all your finances, understanding where you're at financially and where money is being spent and earned. I know that right now you're doing something that you 6 months ago thought you could never do. And I want you to notice that, because that's how you really gain confidence in yourself. You have surprised yourself already. And it's with that knowledge of all you've done right now that you thought you couldn't do, take that step into the future and realize this is a stretch for me, but I made it this far, I'm going to make it that next. Celebrating when you do take that step, when you show up for yourself. You've been showing up for other people for how many years now? And when you do show up for yourself, take the time to celebrate that. Celebrate being able to do the things, because this is all a message to your brain. This is saying you're going to be okay. This is saying you are strong. This is saying you are lovable. All of these little steps are coming together to say, wow, you are amazing. Take some time to celebrate that. Work through these different steps. The divorce process can be very lonely. The protective mechanism is to isolate. Many feel like they don't want to talk to friends. They don't want to go to that dinner. They don't want to meet people after work because they want to isolate. They don't want to have to say that they got divorced or that they're going through a divorce. In the moment when we choose to isolate, we feel safer. But that's not real, not necessarily really safe. If we choose connections with the right people, then divorce doesn't have to be so lonely, and it doesn't have to be isolating. Thinking about all that you've been through and how having support and connection with people who care about you, how you would feel, how you would heal, how you could grow. This is Oksana Holder. She's an attorney in Scottsdale, a really great divorce lawyer. She says, I've known Jody for over 4 years. She's one of my trusted therapists. When I talk to my clients after they complete Jody's incredible course, it's apparent that she's a master at helping people recover from their pasts and grow into beautiful futures. I'm there to help you navigate the legal processes as well as the emotional processes. I'm uniquely qualified to help you realistically move through divorce. You don't want everything's going to be fine. Your brain doesn't believe it. You want to know that you're taking the right action steps. That's why I created From Breakup to Brilliance. I'm so excited about it. You always hear people say, I wanted to reach more people, and I couldn't reach enough people. I thought, I work with people every day. I feel like I have a really meaningful life. Then it got to the point that I got so busy, I really did have to say, I'm sorry, I can't help you. That felt terrible. I don't want to have to say to anybody that help, sorry, I can't help you. If I can, I created this group coaching and course. It's 8 weeks, and it is the way I can help more people than I can in my private practice. Every single module in Breakup to Brilliance is an access point to healing and growth. All through those 8 weeks, we're going to be entering another area and experiencing a different space for transformation. In Module 1, we're going to do that inventory. We go through and think, where are we right now? What is that ideal life? How can we create a plan to move through that? We're going to meet each other in the group sessions. The group coaching sessions are live. We're going to explore how can we use our creativity and our expressiveness to get to the heart of who we are again. In Module 2, we're going to I believe in the power of narrative, and the stories we tell ourselves about our past impact the way we live in the present day. We want to make sure that the stories we're telling reflect our truth, rewriting the narrative to reflect your experience, moving past relationships that don't serve us, moving out of roles that no longer serve us, setting boundaries by saying not just no, but yes. I'm setting a boundary by actually taking an action to take care of myself. And in coaching, as can happen, expanding personal power by having that experience with other people at the same time. We'll work in Module 3, Week 3, making our home a sacred space, really thinking about what kind of community do I want to live in? How do I want to make where I live and where I experience life my community, not just where I live physically, but what's my community of people? And we're in the coaching, we work on developing confidence and really listening further to our intuition. Visualizing work as an expression of your passions. So when I moved from law into doing my doctorate in psychology, I was somewhat hesitant throughout. I kept imagining that this is what I've always wanted to do. I didn't have the courage to do it when I got out of college. This is what I wanted to do, and I'm actually doing it right now. Taking the time, it didn't happen the next day, and I did have to do other work in between, but eventually I do get to live my passion in my work. Module 5, we will actually use the psychological tools that I use with my clients to help minimize anxiety and depression, to recapture what we wanted for our lives and really what we wanted for our lives. Module 6 is about increasing self-trust. By the time we get to the 6th week, we will have all experienced as well as seen others experience the way they have confidently moved into these next steps. We will then see that now I can trust myself, and now I can listen to that voice. Now I don't need permission. I'm just going to do what I need to do for me. That's the experience. But while at this place, this is where we can work on achieving greater balance, expanding our self-esteem and self-love even further. There's no right or wrong in terms of forgiveness, but it's a good thing to explore whether or not you do or don't want to forgive in a group setting with other people who've had similar experiences. It really helps you to think about the role forgiveness should or shouldn't place in your life. Module 7 is enlightened co-parenting process I developed for helping families emerge from divorce and co-parent in a healthy way. It involves learning how to move into a new role as co-parents, creating parenting rituals and strategies that help to decrease anxiety for children and enhance resilience, doing emotion-focused parenting, communication, negotiation, conflict resolution skills that you can use everywhere in your life. Module 8, we'll talk about intimacy, dating. Wherever you're at is just where you're supposed to be. But it is fun and interesting and also enlightening to be amongst a group of women in a similar experience and realize that the way we feel isn't crazy, that we have a lot of options. And what is it like now to date? If you've been married for a period of time, the dating culture right now is so different from what it used to be. I will encourage you at every turn to connect into your inner power. I will compassionately hold you accountable to the promises you make to yourself until you get to the point where you're ready to show up for yourself enough that you don't need anyone to encourage you to stick to your goals. It's really common to think when this is over, I don't know what my life is going to be. This life quake of divorce can leave us with lots of rubble all around us, and we need relief. That's why I created From Breakup to Brilliance, to help you to see what's possible after divorce, to help you find your way out from that rubble. If you're looking for an expert to guide you, and that expertise is from my work as a psychologist, as a family lawyer, as a yoga teacher, as a mom, my experience having been through divorce, that's where I draw upon to help you through and to avoid those hidden legal, emotional, and financial traps, help you out of the rubble of the life quake of divorce. Maybe you can see that dream life, but you felt stuck and you haven't been able to take steps to achieve those incremental goals. That's what Break Up to Brilliance is designed to help you do. If you are feeling you want more confidence, you want to awaken your intuition, you want to engage in healthy co-parenting, you want to connect with other women who have had similar experiences, all of those desires are met in this 8-week Break Up to Brilliance course. So it's 8 weeks of group coaching, live coaching every week, 2 hours of live coaching, and a course that I've brought everything from my work, the things that I share with my clients in my private practice, I share in this course. So you get the 8 weeks of the course, which has so much wisdom in it, everything I've learned from my clients and my students, as well as the things I've learned myself. We're going to do a self-care masterclass. So that's in addition to the course, in addition to the group coaching, we'll have a masterclass. It'll be live. It's called GEM, and Getting Over Overwhelm, Eliminating Anxiety and Managing Stress. And I work with so many people. I don't know if you can relate to what it's like to have been married to someone who's narcissistic, but it can be a hell. And that's a whole nother level of care and support that is sometimes needed. I wanted to create this extra for people who have that special situation where they've been in a narcissistic relationship. This narcissist detox kit is a letter I got from one of my clients. When she walked into my office, she blamed herself. She felt that everything that she had heard about how little value she had, she believed those things. So when she finally reached out to me, she didn't come to me for help in her relationship or for help in dealing with this narcissistic husband. She came to me just to get through the day. She says, Jody, help me realize that everything was not my fault, that I was lovable, that I deserved respect. That's something we inherently deserve. We don't have to do anything for love and respect. We deserve that. She said, without Jody's help, I would still feel miserable. With her guidance, I've gone on to live a much better life. I depend on her advice tremendously. Live dating profile jam where we're going to get together. Even if you don't ever want to create a dating profile, it is so much fun to try to do it with a group of women. It's a chance for us to have fun, but you will also have a profile to take with you. I'm going to add in a surprise bonus, which is a one-on-one session with me, only for the people who act right away. And I can't do it for everybody. I wish I could. If you feel that you would benefit from one-on-one session, then don't wait until the end of the weekend to purchase the course. You want to do it now so that you can get this. We work on exactly what is for you. So whatever it is you want to talk about, whatever questions you have, whatever issues you're dealing with, it's your session. And we're going to take the time, whatever time you need, to work on whatever it is you need to work on. There is a Break Up to Brilliance course Facebook group that everybody's going to be in. So it's another place where we can meet. In addition to the group coaching, we also have this Facebook group where we can meet, get to know each other, ask each other questions. This is a lot of stuff. Thinking about when are you going to be ready? Remember, these days, these minutes, this is our life. If we wait till we're ready, we're missing out on our life and we may never get started. Everything's included, 8 modules, 16 hours of group coaching. If you sign up today, 1 hour of individual coaching, the narcissistic detox manual, the live self-care class, the dating profile jam party, all of that is included. 5% of all my profits go to the National Coalition Against Domestic Violence. I'm certainly not for everybody. I'm not insulted if you don't like me. I'm not for everybody. The way I have shared information with you in this workshop is similar to how I work. You can see, is this somebody I would like to work with or not? And you have to feel that I'd be right for you and that not the things I'm saying are resonating with you. Also, the course isn't for somebody focused on punishing your ex. or trashing their reputation or turning your kids away from that ex. If you want to actively take steps, you want to actually be in the course, you want to integrate and work with other women on these issues. If you can commit to it and you have the goal of turning your divorce into an opportunity to create the best life ever for you and your kids, that's when you should sign up. So when was the last time you gave yourself something of true, deep, and unique value? This is a gift to give to yourself. One of my clients said, I was that woman. And I am proud to say that 2 years ago when I decided to take the leap, it was the best decision I ever made. Thank you, Jody. You've been part of my journey. This course is for you if you want to feel freedom, optimism, and joy, but also want that freedom, optimism, and joy to be supported by a confidence, clarity, wise decision-making. You want to feel confident in that and have a basis for having those feelings. A well-thought-out strategy. We are going to work on this. We are going to create a strategy. You want that freedom, optimism, and joy to be based on your trust, that you can really trust that when you make a decision, you wait for that feeling of peace, and then you choose what's right for you. And a compassionate and caring community. So it's not just about empowering, it's about caring. Having that compassionate and caring community is something that supports you actually experiencing freedom, optimism, and joy. If you are not satisfied with the course, after 14 days, you can get all of your money back. So there's nothing to lose, everything to gain. Absolutely, just touch base with me. If I can do anything to help, I absolutely will do everything. If this course isn't right for you, you get all of your money back. Okay, so questions that I often get asked. What if I can't make the live coaching? So if you can't make the live coach, first of all, you will never have a question for me that I don't answer. You will be able to get your questions to me in advance of the live coaching, either in our group or in the course, and I will make sure to answer every one of them. We will record these sessions, and then they're there for you to listen to anytime. You get all that motivation again. The coaching, that's a gift that you give to yourself. This is from one of my clients with whom I did group coaching. Jody is an extremely compassionate, knowledgeable, personal, intuitive, confident professional. It's wonderful to actually get to know each woman that I coach with. She truly cares about your well-being and goes over and above to assist you. I'm very passionate about being of service to you in any way I can. So again, all included is the self-care masterclass, the narcissistic detox kit. This doesn't just help you recover from narcissistic relationships that you've been in the past. It actually is going to prevent you from ever getting in another one again. So once you go through this kit, you're going to be amazed at how your sensors suddenly see this narcissism that maybe it was hidden under a lot of charm in the past. You're never going to have to worry about ever being in a relationship like that again. For the one-to-one coaching session, it will be included in your course. So in the $555, which you can pay monthly at $97 a month for 6 months, or one payment of $555. How long do I have access to the course? You can access immediately Module 1. You have lifetime access. You have lifetime access, as well as access to the modifications, the changes, the additions. Community, the private community, will always be available to you. So that's a big gift that you're giving to yourself. You're giving yourself a resource that you'll have forever. What if I change my mind? After 14 days, if the course isn't right for you, I will give you every cent back. I want this to be risk-free. You have enough stress right now. Again, I want this to be a gift you give to yourself. If it's not, then just touch base with me and I'll get your money. Register at breakup-to-brilliance. It won't be open for very long. I think registration goes through the weekend, maybe a day or two after, but it's not going to be open long. The cart closes as soon as we meet the maximum number of people we can have in the course. So theoretically, I'm thinking it will be open through the weekend, but if you want to get the one-on-one session, why not? Do it now. In divorce, we tend to want to isolate. It feels safe, but I want you to know that there's safety. The real safety is in knowledge and connection and empowering yourself. Not too many people know how to show compassion. I need to be careful not to repeat what I'm used to and let those people in my life. It's saying no to those things with boundaries, but it's saying yes to the things, the people, the connections, the opportunities that help you to engage in taking care of yourself. That's the real trick of boundaries, is not to create isolation, but to create connection and health and safety for yourself. How much time will we have to commit each day? You want to incorporate what you learn each day, but that doesn't mean you have to learn more each day or you have to commit each day. It's going to be completely up to you and what feels right for you. I will be there motivating you to take action, to take steps, but you'll be the one to decide what you want to do. And you have lifetime access. The coaching is 2 hours of coaching that's designed to meet your needs. And I think it's actually going to give you a lot of time back, because you are going to be able to really speed up as you learn to trust yourself, gain confidence, get your questions answered. That's actually going to give you time back. So it'll be up to you, the amount of time you want to commit to it. But again, you have it for your lifetime. What if someone can't afford this course? Yeah, I know it seems expensive, but it is something that you have for all of your life. I think you're going to learn enough that you get the whole price back. You will realize that putting some of your resources to this course is an awesome investment for you. Let's see. So I hope you will click on any other questions? Thank you for being here. Talk to you soon.